Going. And we are live. Welcome to Beyond the Pendulum, episode 9. I've been doing real bad. It's actually October 20th, 2022. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or anything, I'm doing a real bad job of keeping up with the streams and pushing it over to Apple Podcasts. Mainly due to me being lazy and not having enough time, but I will get to that this week about putting the last few episodes of this show back onto Apple Podcasts. It would be nice if they would allow me to do a streaming option, or even put in some video along with the podcast, but that appears to only be allowed with people who have so many subscribers, and I really don't have diddly squat over there. If you are hearing this on Twitter or on YouTube, we are live currently. This is not a re-record or anything like that. We do this show live, as has been several other shows that we have done in the past. It's obviously we don't rehearse too well going before the show. There's been a few things that have popped up this week that are kind of out of the norm. Was reading quite a few UFO reports off the coast of Pacific coast of California, going all the way to Hawaii. Some of these were reported on radar. What else were we talking about? Some current events that had popped up today. If you are in Europe, you are somewhere in between France, UK, or Netherlands, or any of the Northern European, Eastern or Western European countries, you might be having trouble with your internet, with latency, vice versa. If you're using websites that are not local. Some idiot decided to cut the cable. I wouldn't say that it's sabotage related to the war, but yes, it totally could be. But cutting one cable under the water is not going to cause the internet to go down. It's just going to get rerouted, and that's what's causing your latency. What?
That was cut between the States and Hawaii?
Oh, no, between France and the UK.
I got you.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly the transatlantic cable, but who the hell is... We have like a restream chat and... Oh, okay. I see where it's going. Yeah, I was like, wait, who's... The restream is going all the way to... the YouTube's going all the way back to my restream thing, and I can actually see what they're saying. That's nice. Elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. But anyway, so if you are in Europe and you are experiencing latency, it might be sabotage related to the war, or some drunk submariner was drinking a little too much vodka and spliced that cable.
Are you sure there wasn't an epic battle between swordfish and the cable was just caught in a crossfire?
It's possible, but marine life, like usually when they lay these cables down, they're usually at like the bottom of the ocean. There's not too much marine life that would be chewing on those cables. Not too much. But who am I to say? They found UFO and what's it called? What are they called? Not UAPs. What are they called? The ones, the UFOs that are underwater. USO.
UAS?
Yeah, USOs. Yeah, USO. Underwater, unidentified submersible objects. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
USO, something like that.
How about the ones that fly into the volcanoes?
I I've only heard so much about that, like that's kind of more of like a Latin America thing. Like I really that I it might even be a fake thing, but I haven't really heard too much about that other than Latin America.
Yeah, Mexico. You see that?
Yeah.
There's some pictures there, because they got some volcanoes around Mexico City. They'll have a camera, that's on that volcano the whole time, and they've got some pictures, streaking in and out of them. It's suspicious looking.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, if they were real, they would be looking at stuff like this, like, oh, a volcano. This is how the innards of the world's. But it is suspicious. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you don't hear about it in other countries.
Yeah, there's a
Got
U.S. There's a UFO hotspot down there near Mexico City. I think it's called Tepoztlan. That's a real hotspot. Um, like 60%, 70% of the people that live there, have seen these things, and now that doesn't have to do with the volcano. That's separate, but that area is kind of known, as a UFO hotspot.
yeah. There's quite a bit of play. I mean, Mexico gets a lot. I'm not sure if it's a lot of hoaxes, but I seem to get more reports out of like Mexico and South America than almost anywhere else on a regular basis. Maybe more people are just looking up. I don't know, or maybe there's more hoaxes. I'm not sure.
I actually saw something on that recently, and it's got to do with their standard of information. How many people have to call in to say it, or if it's actually investigated when it's reported. And apparently, Mexico does a really good job of communicating these things, and that's supposedly the big difference.
Well, yeah, it is a more religious and superstitious country, and many countries are, besides ours, where we just get this wall of silence that, we've been complaining about this stuff for almost 75 years in this country, and finally they admit that it's real. We have a great track record when it comes to this shit. You know, people have been reporting them in this. Yeah, people have been reporting it in the sky, and our government says they're not real. And finally, they say they're real. Why should we trust what the government says? They lie. They most likely are the reason that a lot of what we've been saying over the years has been um, we've been seeing in our skies, mainly not because we'll freak out. I honestly think that the how should I say this? The wall of silence that is coming from our government for almost 75 years up until recently is not because of how we would respond to being visited by an extraterrestrial race, mainly due to secret agreements that we've had with them that would violate almost every one of our constitutional rights, or something that we've done, or some sort of technology that we've traded with them, or some sort of agreement that they've that our government has allowed them to abduct us, or something like that. Or the fact, and this is another reason I think that they might have kept this secret from us, is that the private what do you call it, black budget contractors have been given some of this technology and has been slowly introducing it into our society, making billions of dollars from the R&D from this shit. That one is the most likely thing that I think that our government has kept a wall of silence for 75 years, is because they've been making deals with these little green guys, making quite a good profit off of it. I mean, there's a lot of technology in the last 65 years that just kind of popped out of nowhere, you know, like
Yeah. Well, between the like making money on the contracts, and what was the other one I was thinking of? Selling you out to the aliens, basically, so they could get a bump up in life.
when you think about it. Think about it in retrospect. About 100 years ago, there wasn't stuff flying, and there wasn't anything. Well, that we made that were flying in the skies. and now we're landing on other planets. That's a big leap, you know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the giant floating constructs where people live, I find a bit more impressive than just going to another rock. There's space stations where people live out there. That is, to me, a big indicator of what we're not being told.
Oh yeah, I totally buy into I mean if we have 9 or 10 fully functional or some or in some somewhat functional disc craft according to people who have worked at S4 along the years. Um, I believe that there might be some off. Yeah, you might be right. There might be off world bases if we're traveling. If we
The
have some.
International Space Station is one we definitely know of, and if we know that has been there and functional for how many years?
Well, there's been rumors that the known. Have you heard about this? That the Apollo missions were the last um, NASA based missions to the moon, but apparently there was secret military DoD operations going there back and forth. Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard about it, but I don't doubt that. And I mean, we just had two billionaires flying around in space for joyrides recently. So yeah, there's a big gap between getting to the moon and flying around for joyrides. There's a lot in between there. I mean, if you look at the difference, just like the first car that was made, and the time, when people started using that machine for specific transport, since we went cruising around, it's the same gap but bigger with things flying further distances. The leaps and bounds in technology, especially in the last 10 years, it's unnatural. At
Yeah.
least there's definitely some kind of help, or just an exposure rollout so people can make the money on a certain timeline. But I remember hearing stories as a kid of grandparents that worked for GE, and there were flat screen TVs back in the 70s.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange things coming out.
Yeah, I gotta believe they could. I mean, you could peel enough money off of any of these programs to, have a small base up there somewhere. I don't know about anything large, really. I mean, that takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, I've only heard about off-world bases on the other side of the moon. You know,
Yeah, like I mean, Mars, that's like 50 times more difficult.
it would make sense to put one on the other side of the moon because
Oh,
you literally don't need as much shielding from solar radiation.
yeah, or near the poles. I mean, that's where a lot of the water seems to be anyway. Set up in a crater, near the one of the poles.
Who knows? Maybe these ships that they have their own artificial gravity, so they don't have to worry about it. I
Yeah,
don't
why
know.
else would
Maybe.
you need a space force? I mean, it's not like, I mean, you're like barely getting out of your atmosphere, in basic terms, it's like, whoa, you need a whole, you need a whole army. And,
Well, I think what we're seeing is the last grasp. I mean, like this is like if it all comes out that we are being visited by or have some sort of relationship with an off-world race, that might redefine how we think about governments. Like, are you a citizen of Ukraine or Russia or France, China or Japan, United States or whatever, or are you a citizen of Earth? You know, quite weird to think about such things, but those are the kind of questions that might come up.
we could be a space democracy.
Yeah, citizens of the moon.
Because once you use that word, then we start spreading our freedom and democracy, and you know where that goes. That's
Yeah, we're gonna spread our freedom all over Io and Saturn.
we're not putting up with these aliens. You know, we'll just make them illegal aliens too in another way. So
Yeah, they have to get registrations and
yeah, if you don't come through a port of entry, you know, we're not putting up with it. Just,
if we don't bomb ourselves to death in the next 6 months. I'm not joking. Some of the shit that's coming out of Europe is scaring the crap out of me. You know, I'm just reliving all the shit my parents went through. You know, by everything comes around full circle. You know, every so many amount of years in the last 100 years, there's this crazy guy that comes out of Europe that wants to destroy everything.
well, you look
Almost like
at
we're caught in a loop.
yeah, you know, I mean, even in the city, I mean, they've been going on like this for like 300 or 400 years. You can look at the history of Europe from like the 1650s to now. It's just constant war. You know, just I don't know why these
Yeah,
people can't get along. You
I don't either. They try to.
know. Well, the kind of the history is there. It's like the royal families, essentially, you know, they're battling behind the scenes, and then that expresses itself as some war in the countries somewhere.
It's getting scary with these weapons that they have. You know, and like we knew these weapons were bad. You know, 70 years ago.
Yeah, the autonomous drone now, you know, that doesn't even need to be told what to do. It already knows what to do. So you just fire it up and then let it seek for a target. And,
Yeah, I mean, we knew these weapons were bad a long time ago. You know.
yeah, I just can't figure out why the Russians had to buy Iranian drones. That maybe they're just that good or cheap.
Uranium drones
Iran from Iran, they're getting their drones from Iran.
filled with uranium.
No, no, not they don't have uranium in them, but they buy them from Iran.
Oh,
They're Iranian.
Iranian
oh,
drones.
Iranian. I thought you said uranium.
No,
Oh my
no, they're
god!
really high tech.
I said like, what the fuck? Like, why would they do that?
Well, that could be a dirty drone. I mean, that's a good idea, Tyler. You came up with something there. I mean,
A uranium drone.
Yeah,
it does
that
seem like
expands a lot of capabilities with the drones dropping off robot dogs and the cameras with guns attached to them. We've got a lot of fun to look forward to.
Well, I don't know. Guess we'll see how. You know, for all we could know, this could all be a bluff. You know, who knows?
well, it's been building for what ever since World War II. I mean, you know, NATO was the answer to this next supposed problem, and here you are. It
Yeah,
took that long for him to get it all set up and ready to go.
yeah, I guess. Oh God, it's luxury truck. Guy comes around 11 o'clock at night selling tacos in a truck. Uh, or sorry, 7 o'clock at night. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen after this. You know, like this might be this might be for all we know that what they write in your holy books about. You know,
Apocalypse.
the apocalypse. Yeah, yeah, the baptism in
Yep, well,
fire. I
Yeah, that could be.
don't know. I don't like to making this so political. It is scary. How everything comes around full circle. Or what was I else going to
So,
write?
Unless they're just playing a game, right?
It could be. I mean, like, we knew these weapons were bad 70 years ago or in the 40s. These weapons don't belong in wars now. So if you use those kind of weapons now, you're basically saying, I'm not only going to destroy your country, but I'm going to destroy everything around it. You know, that's what you're saying, and not kind of sort of, like permanently for like 3 or 4 decades, maybe even longer. Like how Chernobyl? I don't even think that Chernobyl was a meltdown. That was a nuke, but like I heard Chernobyl won't even be safe for like another 250 years from now.
Yeah.
well, they still did a better job with that one than Fukushima.
Yeah, Fukushima,
And
that's still going off, and the reason we don't hear much about it is because the government has been hush hush about that one. Yeah, I do know about that. What was that company that was the problem? TEPCO or something? Lion.
Tokyo Electric Power.
Yeah. And they kept on. They were lying. The now the official policy of the Japanese government is just to deny it and pretend it doesn't exist. How do you
That's
do that?
very honor. That's very honorable.
Japan's like, come on, guys, have we cleaned up enough nuclear disasters yet?
Well,
So yeah, just nuke Japan again, and it
well,
all blended together.
I think the Japanese government kind of folded when TEPCO kept on telling them that they found a way to keep this thing, the radiation down and indefinitely have the water flowing. But their solution was to ask Bill for billions of dollars a storage tank for their radiated water that they've been spraying on these things. Push us to come to shove, and that baby's got to go off soon somewhere. They should just do what they did in Chernobyl, just build a coffin over it.
Yeah, but I think it's actually already like leaking into this to the ocean like all this time, right? So
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, yeah,
and with Chernobyl also like it like the coffin is also is only like the outside, right? And it's still it melts into the ground or whatever, and this stuff is melting into the sea. Like a coffin
yeah.
is we're already fucked with it. Yeah, I've seen like all these maps of radiation, and it's literally spreading all over the world. So I think it can be measured here, like in Europe and stuff too. So
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. Just about, like it kind of weirded me out, with one of the head scientists who was working on trying to stop the radiation from leaking from Fukushima. Won't ever eat. He said he says he would he actually changed his diet and said he would never eat seafood again until this for the next couple hundred years. It's not even safe to eat it in Tokyo or even the Japanese waters because of the radiation. The radiation was like 1,000% higher than it should normally allowed to be in food levels. That's not good. This is from coming from animals that are eating something that's radiated. That's how they get that much radiation in them. Imagine that eating radioactive fish.
yeah, it's crazy. Like we
Man.
don't even seem to care anymore here. I mean, like no one is talking about this. Like we're talking about all this bullshit going on, and like literally everyone is being radiated.
Oh yeah. Like the fuck ups that happened during this war when there were yeah, there was some radiation leaks for sure during the beginning of that war. They probably weren't telling anybody about any of that.
Yeah,
You don't just shoot a nuclear. You just don't shoot a few rounds into a nuclear facility and expect there to be nothing happening.
I tell you, the other food I can't eat, at least for me, since they sprayed all that BP oil spill here in the Gulf. I swear the seafood is just like totally gone to shit in taste and color. You know, along the coast, the Gulf Coast.
Yeah. We had 3 Mile Island. Remember that thing almost fully melts down. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's way back in the 70s. Yeah.
There was more problems there than they wanted to say about. But I do believe that there was a lot more going on. Try to cover that one up too as much as they could.
Well, they've extended these licenses on these plants too, even though if they might be leaking or have some problems, they have no cheap solution. It just seems to be it's just like, well, let's just essentially just run them till they blow, and then that's the new licensing procedure.
Yeah, that's about right. It's about right. Yeah, they remember when they cut off San Onofre. Now they're talking about not having enough, um, not enough power to go around here.
Well, you're pushing $8 gas or something here the other day. Like somebody I know that sent me a picture from Bridgeport, Connecticut. It was like 8.08 a gallon.
Oh yeah, it went down here. It's still almost 4.99. It almost went up that high, but like Mark, I
Back
heard it.
down.
I heard in your neck of the woods, it was almost $10 a gallon for diesel.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, like, it's still going up, but people aren't really noticing it because they took off the taxes, right? So they removed like the 21% tax off it. So it looks cheaper now, but it's actually not cheaper. It actually went up, and in January they're putting back the taxes, so then it goes up like really wild. By the way, that's in euros, not in dollars, so not that even makes much of a difference anymore because it's like the same value
Pretty
now.
much
So
equal now.
yeah,
The dollar might even be doing better at this rate, honestly.
yeah. Well, everything's just fucked.
Did you hear what they fired the speaking of money, they what was it, the new head of parliament or whatever the hell in the UK they call him. She got
Prime
voted out.
Minister?
Yeah, prime minister. Yeah, because she tanked the fucking British money in
She's like
45
so
days. In 45 days, she fucking tanked their money.
she's like so obviously a scapegoat though, that's the thing.
It's
It's like
funny.
it
It's
was
fucking
always said that way.
It's so hilarious. It
Yeah.
took her 45 days to do it though. Oh, she might have not been the cause, but it's still hilarious.
Hey, she was saying all the right things, and she said she was a big Zionist, and it looked like she was going along, going to fit in. That can't be the reason. I mean, there's no way she had anything to do with that anyway.
I
Or very
mean,
little.
like, but you got to understand there is some market, there is some influence on markets based on politicians and who's actually there. But
Well, that's true.
that'd be equivalent to like getting a new president here and then the dollar going to 50 cents per euro, whatever. Like,
Yeah, there's like this difference between like reality and people's perception of reality. Like even if we know that like real power is not in politics, well, as long as people believe power is in politics, there actually power is in politics. So the wrong politician can make a currency crash, of course. It's like, yeah.
But then you have like Soros getting in there in the financial markets and rigging the British pound. I mean, that goes way back now, and then nobody really nobody complained about that. It's just like, oh, it's George Soros. You know, he's in the markets. You know, it's like,
Yeah, but
yeah,
I just think they want everything to have the same value. So they want to have the dollar to be the same value as the euro, and the British pound have the same value. So they're just making sure that happens. It becomes one market. And they're
yeah.
good at it.
They keep all the relative ratios the same as they just inflate all of us into oblivion. You know, this almost identically though. I mean, it's to keep the ratios that close all the time is kind of hard. And I know
Yeah.
they seem to have them where they want them, and then it's just like, well, you know what? We're just going to inflate all you fools, and there you go.
So we had something happened in our country. Like, so one of the politicians said like they're all like reptilians. He said it in like in an interview, and like then in the parliament he said something similar again. Like he said like you guys are all reptilian elites, and like now everyone is going wild, all the media, and now it's been announced that David Icke is visiting our country.
Seriously?
And yeah, and he's going to speak in Amsterdam on like the major square, like Dam Square, and
What's he gonna speak about?
about reptilians.
What
Oh
else does
God!
David Icke speak about?
Yeah, he's going to speak about the elite, the reptilians, the Rothschild bankers and stuff. So yeah, Amsterdam is trying to ban him, but now like all the media are like all jumping on it, right? And all like saying like David Icke is such a Holocaust denier and everything, right? So and what's happening now? He's getting a huge amount of attention of this. Like it's all he ever wanted. Like the people don't the mainstream doesn't understand that his followers only believe him because the mainstream is against him. Like otherwise, no one would actually believe that whole reptilian part. It's just that when all the media and all the politics are going against David Icke, all the people are going to believe the stuff he says. Of course. I mean, like that's the exact thing he says. He says like, everyone is against me because I'm putting out real information. So yeah, they're making the story for him, and now they've been stopped. Like the judges in the Netherlands say, like Amsterdam is not allowed to ban David Icke, so he's going to speak in public in Dam Square
Oh boy.
on November the 6th.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that Guy Fawkes Day?
It's the day after.
It's
Guy
the day
Fawkes.
after.
After
Oh god, imagine if he did do it on November 5th.
No. So the first Sunday of every month there is a major protest, right? It's like the anti-vaxxer protest. Like that's like has been going on since the first day of like lockdowns and whatever. Every first Sunday of the month there is a protest, and they're doing this in every time in a different capital city in our country. So this happens to be in Amsterdam this time, on the 6th. So it's going to be big. And now because David Icke is showing up, it's going to be even bigger. Because they're calling him a Holocaust denier, it's going to be even bigger.
he might be a Holocaust now. I mean, like I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I've seen all speeches, and there is some of course there is some of that stuff in it, right? And the second when you say like Rothschild rules the world, then of course you're going to be put out as an anti-Semite. That's just how it's going to be.
Speaking of anti-Semitism, what was it? Kanye went off the rails and went all Ku Klux Klan on us. You know.
Kanye's
Like-
been off the rails. I don't know what he's up to, but I couldn't care less.
Yeah, he went on a George Soros. He wanted to call out and get into a fight with George Soros. Like I've been seeing all these snippets, and he's wearing all these racist, not racist, racist stuff, anti-Semitic stuff. I'm like, dude, like you might as well just put on what was it? Like he's starting to lose his mind, you know. You think?
Starting to. Oh, he's been losing his mind ever since he got afflicted by the Kardashian curse. Like, I don't let him do his thing.
Oh, you're talking about how all the exes end up being like drug addicts or crazies.
Yeah.
I don't know. it's I guess she'd qualify as a white woman. I mean, sometimes these white women mess guys up, man. There's just no other way to describe it.
I don't know, man.
So what other stuff happened?
So,
That's why you have to differentiate between white and white with the extra H.
Yeah, that was we were talking before the show about that. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be. I don't think skin color applies anymore. You know, I don't. No, some of the stuff I see going around Twitter.
Hey, so which things did you guys discuss already? UAP logo on Army Department?
Oh, that was like last. That was like last week. I didn't come well prepared for this show today. I kind of had to throw everything at the last minute. There was a huge. Did I tell you about that? There was if you're experiencing actually in your neck of the woods, Mark, where you're did you hear about the cable that got cut under the ocean? The fiber optic cable, the huge one, for between France and the UK.
No. Let me see.
Yeah, seriously. Let me look it up. France cable cut. Zscaler CEO, major EU internet cable was cut, was an act of vandalism?
Okay, I'm checking it. It's 9 hours ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're experiencing latency to outside sites, it's because of this, because everything has to get rerouted from this cable that got cut under the ocean.
It's interesting. No, I haven't noticed any difference, but
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, it could be some drunk guy in a submarine that could have accidentally hit it, but
What?
he was drinking vodka, right?
he was drinking vodka.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zscaler CEO says major EU was an act of vandalism, and he references a submarine.
oh yeah. And of course, they mention Russia again in the article.
Yeah. Yeah, he says many suspected that Russia was behind it.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like any country could do it now and just blame Russia. They should take a go.
I know, it could have been, that's what I'm saying, it could be like some just drunk guy. He's like...
All you have to do is wear like a Russia t-shirt or something. Like I would Russia on a t-shirt. Like all the... Yeah.
Or, you know...
Russia did something they could get away with it just by, like, boy who cried wolf syndrome. It'd be like, man, come on, you guys say we do everything, bro. This one was obviously the U.S.
Yeah, for all we know, it could have been what's it called, side scanning sonar, where they where the boats drag something at the bottom of the ocean. Have you ever heard of that? And it's some weird shit where they put this projectile onto the bottom, basically let it sink almost to the bottom of the ocean. They drop it down, and it'll map the bottom of the ocean. Somebody could have been drunk and be like, "Dude, did you pull that shit up?" And the guy's like, "No." Next thing you know, you cut $1 billion cable.
Crazy now.
Well, it seems like they would have run a lot of that stuff along the. Well, they have that tunnel underneath. It seems like you would have run a lot of stuff through that.
Dude, you'd be surprised. A lot of the stuff that they did for the backbone of the internet makes absolutely no sense to me. Like I told you, it's a lot cheaper to build to launch a rocket, to launch a satellite into space, deal with 120 millisecond latency instead of like dumping billions of dollars of copper cable onto the bottom of the ocean. It costs just about as much money to put a satellite up there. Nowadays, probably cheaper.
Bro.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Mark, what's the energy plan for Europe as it gets colder?
Who says we have energy plans now? They advised us to buy some wood and burn it.
Is that the big government solution over there? Like live near a forest or something and get your wood pile stacked up and
Yeah, yeah, seriously. Like there's no plan at all. No. It's like, you know, they're, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing, right? Actually, I kind of am, and they're just switching everything to this whole Great Reset thing. We're not allowed to say really the conspiracy stuff, right? Or we're all Nazis when we say that stuff. But no, they're switching it on. Like it is not just happening on that area. It is going really, really fucking fast now.
Oh yeah.
They're removing the food supply and switching to these food hubs right here, and they're at the same time they're literally abolishing cash money at the same exact time, right? They're putting up this whole surveillance grid, and it is going pretty wild right now. And yeah, yeah, well, the energy thing, right? And we know it's a trap because they're not. Okay, look, the government is supporting people, right? So if you can't pay your energy stuff, they will help you, but they're not going to pay it in advance. They want you to be in debt first, right? So we know it's a trap. So when you are in debt, they'll help you, and that's how why it's a trap because they want control of your debt. They want control over your money, so you will get credits. So, right, you will get this little QR code, and when you follow the rules blindly, and you're a nice little yeah.
you know they're shutting their industry down. You know, I kind of watch the metals. That's where my old jobs, but they're shutting down all their aluminum and steel plants. 'Cause they can't afford the power.
Yeah,
I mean, your whole industry's going to shit.
it's all planned, right? It's all planned. So we knew it was going to happen. Just didn't know the trigger event. That trigger event happened now. So there's nothing much we can do about it. We know that they're going to destroy the farmers, right? We know the farmers already lost the second they started it. But yeah, uh, I don't know. As long as people still protest and fight back, some people are hopeful, right? But we know how it's going to end. So we're trying to set up like alternative economies. Like we have like a farmer to citizen markets and stuff now we're building here. But it's not really working in the south, but it's a lot of hard work and yeah. In some ways, some things are working. And the only positive thing is that it's no longer conspiracy stuff. It's like with like I think for me like 15, 20 years I've been talking about this stuff, right? And it's
Yeah.
always in secret. There are secret societies, and no one ever believed you. They always said like, "Yeah, you're just a conspiracy theorist or whatever." And now it's like all in the open. Everyone knows it now, right? They're throwing it in our faces. So there's no one in our country who's going to still say these conspiracy theories. They know what's happening. Right? They know now that there is a WEF that put control over our government. They know it. They know this stuff. It's no longer conspiracy theory. So that's the positive thing. And that's why you see like a gazillion upside down Dutch flags. It's like everywhere. So yeah, that's the positive thing. I honestly, that people are like waking up in masses. I don't want to use the word "great awakening," but that's what they're actually using. So yeah, that's how they're calling it.
I mean, it's better than calling it an enlightenment.
Yeah, I know it's a reference to the QAnon stuff, but they're actually calling it the Great Awakening. So yeah.
I mean, people always use that terminology all the time. Like, you have the woke and you have the fucking, like, Great Awakening, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need an enlightenment right before they take you to the dark age, right?
Oh, don't
that's
even
very
say
important.
enlightenment, bro.
Yeah, but that's where the discussion is. This is the key of the discussion, Alan. Like, do they want us to fight to destroy this idea of them? Because they're throwing it in our faces at this point in such a way that it literally enrages the entire population. So they're going to be left with two choices. They have to either quickly enslave everyone and kill all the protesters, or they're going to lose. Right? Because everyone, they can't beat 1 million people watching at them. They have to move really quick now. Like, what are they doing? They're creating this so much hate against their whole little plan. Like that's the weird part about it. That is what I don't get. Why make it so obvious? Like they're not hiding. They're saying like, yeah, we are in control. That's what they're saying. We decide.
Well, maybe that's where you have to watch out for controlled opposition too. Because it's like you have these guys that are so shit that anything presenting themselves as an alternative seems good. In reality, it could be another wolf in sheep's clothing type deal.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. There are some movements which are, but you have to be very deep into these ideologies, and you have to do real research to like recognize the controlled opposition because, yeah. So you have a fight between nationalists and globalists, right? That it's pretty much there is a global movement and there is a nationalist movement, and nationalists, of course, are infected by a lot of like extreme right wing, right? Because they're also part of them. They're also nationalists in their own way, but they're also like Nazis, right? And then you have controlled opposition on the other side, people who like offer alternatives and offer like anarchist communities and whatever, and call themselves like we're anti-fascism. In reality, almost all of them are avoiding the national frame. So that is like the wet dream of the globalists. Like if you don't have the national frame, so you're no longer looking for a national government. You're doing the actual work for the globalists for them. So, well, yeah, and so there's controlled opposition on both sides because on the real Nazis who get involved with nationalists, people who are not right or left wing at all, they just believe that human rights in the Netherlands were fine. They don't want it changed. So, but the real danger is that when the Nazis invaded, they are making it very unpopular. Let's say. Because they represent this tiny minority, and people really they are not. They invaded with all this racist stuff. That's what we really don't need. It's like when you support farmers or whatever, you support a food supply. You don't support. You don't. It has nothing to do with racism. So yeah, that is. Yeah. So you have controlled opposition both sides. That sucks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say this side of the pond, things aren't getting any much better. Just all we see is everything getting more expensive. Like for like no reason at all, no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, you're probably looking at. I think you're probably noticing your food prices going up already.
Oh yeah, that's been going up all year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is that supply is met up with demand, and it's still getting more expensive.
Yeah, well, of course, but I mean, our country, the Netherlands, is a tiny country, but this is the second largest food exporter, and they're attacking our food supply, so it's going to get worse. They're targeting farmers directly, and those are all 95% or something is export, and it's all going to the United States. I mean, like Germany has their own farms, and Belgium too. The export is going to the United States and stuff. So, yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of rising prices, and yeah, sure, but I should probably do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought y'all be, ransacking the parliament by now over there. Doing some other
No, well, we have David Icke, right? He's showing up.
things. Yeah, and then so then
You
the
should
solution
like
is to
troll him and
censor
get him in
David
a.
Icke.
You should troll him and dressing up in a T-Rex suit.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine.
You think they'd want him to come in? It's like, I mean, this guy would be a distraction talking about reptilians. then one of the royals could walk out there and just say, "Hey, do I look like a reptilian?" I mean, if they
Dude,
really knew how to play the politics,
it's
I mean, it'd be a
such a
big laugh.
it's such a it's like almost as silly. The stuff that he says is almost as silly as those guys that are going around saying the birds aren't real. You
Yeah.
know,
I
Yeah,
love that conspiracy theory. I don't care. That's gotta be one of my favorite conspiracy theories ever.
yeah, but it's just like, isn't it? I'm like completely like overwhelmed by all this stuff. Like you have the whole, you have the flat Earth thing. You have a magical, what is it? White hats fighting for us. I've never seen one.
I
You have
But
know.
white
flat
hats I
Earth,
did meet, or
flat
like
Earth at
regional
least
people.
has like flat Earth at least has like some semblance of science to it. Like birds aren't real is literally just saying that the U.S. government genocided every single bird ever in 1970 and replaced them all with surveillance drones.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I see that flat Earth all the time. I mean, the bots have really pushed that out lately. I'd say the last, month or so.
Yeah, but David Icke is also involved with that. He says the moon is not real and everything. It's all flat Earth and stuff. So he's
Yeah.
going for that stuff too now.
Because they use like the rightful points that NASA's been thoroughly infiltrated by like Nazi scientists. So then they're like, well, since NASA's been infiltrated by science, then space isn't real and the Earth is flat and the moon doesn't exist, like you said.
Sure. Yeah, how would you call it? How did you call it? Like it's like reverse the evidence. It's how we call it here. It's like just because someone lies, you're claiming your theory about it is real. It's totally not true. I mean, you can say anything about that. Like you say, like when NASA lies, it doesn't mean they're also lying about Earth being globe. I mean, maybe the Earth is hollow, or maybe they already met aliens or whatever. I mean, right? They're just making stuff up. Saying like, yeah, NASA's lying, so the Earth has to be flat. Oh, it can be hollow too. There's nothing that says it can't be hollow. So you
Yep.
can make the exact same theory based on a hollow Earth, or based on like NASA being full time in contact with aliens who provide them with rocket technology, or who like control Elon Musk with strings from above. Yeah. Oh, you said who says they didn't come up with that whole chip thing and put it in his brain first and connect everyone to him? It's like we don't know it. Like they're just making stuff up. Yeah.
Well, are there any like conspiracies about Netherlands having any moon bases?
So my Netherlands is these are professional manipulators. Like there's really smart fuckers. So they're already in most governments. You say like, you have to blame the Rothschilds and stuff. Well, did you guys ever know how America was founded? Like, it's just pilgrims from Dutch city Leiden. Just saying. They went with a little boat to London, and then they all went on a Mayflower and traveled to the United States and found America as the same exact colors as the Dutch flag. The American Independence Declaration of Independence is a copy of the Dutch Declaration of Independence from 1581 against Spain. And the Netherlands was the first country to acknowledge American independence by firing these cannon shots. I think it was in Florida. So and then uh, they invented Santa Claus in the United States, the Dutch. So yeah, I mean like, what what is the conspiracies about? Where is Freemasonry coming from? I mean, look at it. You know that the city of Leiden also has there is this student, what's it called, a sorority. It's called Minerva. The Minerva is also called Athena or Isis. You know that on the US dollar bill there's this pyramid with the Eye of Horus above it. You know that Horus is the son of Isis. You know that the logo of Minerva is the owl. So yeah, You say like who is in control, because the United States dollar is is literally the son of Minerva, and that's the same club where these pilgrims are coming from that city, and they founded America. So yeah, who is in control there? You know that the United Kingdom was taken in with the Glorious Revolution, right? By these Dutch people too, and that the Dutch William was also from the same city, uh, founded the city of London, right?
Think
Which
they,
is the Bankers' Art of London, and the Queen of the English Queen is not allowed to visit the city of London without permission. So
yeah,
yeah,
I seen that clip you sent. I was that 1588 where the city of London actually got started.
yeah, the city was taken. That is in the 16th century. Yeah. That is was the Glorious Revolution. Yeah, and when it was
Okay.
William, it's not William the First, William the Third actually. His wife was called Mary, and he became King William the Third on the British throne. He was a Dutch stadtholder, and he sailed into Britain with an armada, which was three times the size of the Spanish armada. And it's called the Glorious Revolution or the Bloodless Revolution because almost no blood was shed because the British elite was behind William when he came in, because they hated the current of their existing king, which was a Catholic, and they wanted a Protestant new king, and it was William was a Protestant, and he took control. And that is where the Irish Orange movement comes from, because it was William of Orange. So the IRA and the Orange movements are still fighting in Ireland because of that, even today still. Yeah, I mean, like this is like it's kind of like a history people don't really talk about, but the financial systems, and then you have there's not another thing, because the same William was also involved in the Holy Crusades. The same family was involved in the Holy Crusades, where they received a lion on their shield, right? Um, they were very supportive of the Vatican, so they worked together with the Vatican in all these crusades and whatever. The Vatican, which is an autonomous region, City of London is an autonomous region, and the Washington, or I think District of Columbia, but it's also an autonomous region. It's founded by the same people.
Yeah,
With,
we based all our stuff out of Puerto Rico now. It looks like Federal Reserve and a lot of these agencies get based out of Puerto Rico for some reason.
yeah,
Some territory. They always seek to, it's chasing down that city of London. Seemed like they said there was like 7,500 residents of that small area, and 12% of them have some special designation where they don't have to pay UK taxes.
yeah. No, it's not. It's not the UK, right? It's technically not the UK. It is an autonomous region. It's controlled by bankers. The British Queen is not allowed to visit without permission. So the royal family is not allowed in without permission from these bankers. There's no laws there, no human rights, nothing. It's all what the bankers decide there. It's very weird.
Yeah, it tells you the hierarchy. The banker is the sovereign. It's not the queen, no matter what she says. Behind the scenes, it's actually the banking that's the big guy.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they put all the attention on the actual royal family that is not in control of it. It's not, at least not the British royal family.
Yeah, they use these fronts. You always have some front. Like the EU's a front for other things. The royal families are a front.
Yeah, and some play all sides, right? I mean, look at the Bilderberg. I mean, that the Bilderberg is a good example. That's where you see all these different connections between these people. Because you have the same Dutch Prince Bernhard from the same family who founded the Bilderberg with the Federal Reserve guy, Rockefeller, who paid for the whole meetings. And they just invite all these important people over. Yeah, um, Atlantic elite. Yes.
So is there, as I look at history, you see, like European history seems to me it's like the royal